In today's video, I'm gonna share with you 3 fabulous fall DIYs. They are not cheap looking. Keep watching. Hello, welcome back to Ramon at Home. I'm so excited you guys are here because in today's video, I'm gonna show you 3 fabulous fall DIYs. They are not cheap looking and I really think you're going to enjoy them. The best part about these 3 fall DIYs is they are done on a budget. So if you are interested in these fall DIYs, please stay tuned. Don't forget to like this video, share with a friend, let them know what we're doing here at home for the fall season. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. And while you subscribe, don't forget to turn the notification bell on so you're notified about every single fall DIY video coming your way. And hey, while we are here, why don't you go ahead and give this video a thumbs up and show support to Ramon at Home. All right, to get started with DIY number 1 for fall, I'm gonna give you all the materials you're going to use, so keep watching. For this fall DIY for your front door, what we're going to need is this square wreath from the dollar store. I'm also going to use 2 of the burlap ribbons from the dollar store. I'm gonna use some gray foam because we're gonna be using florals. For our tools, I'm gonna need my scissors, my wire cutters, some wires I already covered in florist tape, 1 zip tie for our bow, and my florist knife. Now for the beautiful arrangement, what we're gonna use is some leftover ribbon that I have from past projects, and I actually love this plaid fall print. I'm also gonna use some of these longer stems that look like twigs that have some greenery on them. I'm gonna use a few sunflowers, a pumpkin, and some fall foliage from the 99-cent store. All right, let me get all this situated and I'll be right back to give you step number 1. Now that we know all of the items we're gonna need for the first fall DIY, it's time to get started. Okay everyone, so step number 1 is going to be to decide how we're going to hang this wreath on the door. We can do it in a square or we can do it in a triangle. And I feel like we've already done the square, so what I'm going to do is I'm gonna go ahead and use it as a triangle. All right, so once we've decided that, what I'm going to do is I'm gonna free some of my dollar store ribbon. I'm just gonna go ahead and drop it on the floor. And what I'm going to do is I'm gonna grab the very top right here. I'm gonna bend in the very corner. And then I'm gonna grab my glue gun and I'm gonna just do a little dab of glue right on the top. Now be careful not to burn yourself because this burlap ribbon is very porous and you can definitely feel that glue when you glue it onto your form. So once you have that right here in the top, what you need to do is you are gonna start the long process and tedious process of covering your frame as tight as possible. And for this particular process, you're going to probably need, I wanna say 2 to 3 of these burlap ribbons. And you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and take this little guy off because it's bothering me. And now I'm wrestling with it. All right, so now I'm gonna go ahead and cover it. Now I want to recommend that if you enjoy wreath making for all of the seasons, I'm gonna put a playlist right here with all of the fall wreaths that we've done in the past. I've done some really pretty fall wreaths like the one with the cornucopia. I don't know if you guys haven't seen the wreath with the cornucopia. It was absolutely gorgeous. It was done with mainly dollar store flowers and it was just so bountiful and so pretty, and I really hope that if you haven't seen it, you go and check it out, give it a chance, and try to recreate it because that's what they're there for. All right, so now I'm gonna go ahead and continue right here. I'm gonna cover the perimeter of this wreath and I'll be right back with you. Keep watching. Okay, so now that you've gotten to the point where you ran out of your ribbon, what you need to do is just grab your hot glue gun, put 2 little dabs of glue, and now I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna give you a secret. You wanna use the least amount of glue that you can for this particular wreaths because you're really not actually wasting your ribbon, so you can actually recycle it for next projects coming up for the holiday season or even other fall projects. If you get tired of your wreath, then just go ahead and put this one apart and make another one, and just make sure, like I said, not to put a whole bunch of glue on your wreath. That way when you take it apart, well, it's super easy. And as you guys can see, it's only gonna take 2 of the bolts of ribbon from the dollar store. I'm gonna continue wrapping this and I'll be right back. Stay tuned. Okay, so we have finished covering the perimeter of our square wreath that we're gonna use as a diamond shape. So I'm gonna hang it right there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm gonna grab some of this gray foam, and it's worth noting that it's the kind that is gray and it is specially made for florals. I like to recycle it, so I already went ahead and cut a little piece of it with my florist knife. And what I'm going to do is I'm gonna add a little dab of glue right here in the middle. Just be generous because we really want it to stick to our foam, to our ribbon right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna grab my foam, do like a diamond shape like this, and I'm gonna hold it for a few seconds so it really hangs on to my ribbon right here. Then what I'm going to do is I'm gonna grab one of these pieces of ribbon, the accent ribbon that I'm going to use, and I'm gonna go ahead and tie it right here with this, because we're gonna use it to tie the ribbon with, and also it's gonna help stick the foam into the glue right here. So I'm gonna just give it a little knot like that, and then I'm gonna forget it just to hold that in place. All right, so now the next step is going to be to make a little bow. And I already have a tail right here that I pre-cut that I'm gonna just let hang out. And it's probably about 24 inches. So I'm gonna put it to the side, and then I'm gonna start a little bow right here. I want it to be on the smaller side because I'm gonna add some elements that I don't want the bow to really overpower. So make sure you spin around and just play with your ribbon as you go to make it look very floppy. Now, I know you guys enjoy making bows, and some of us are so bow challenged, myself included. But here's the thing, it does not have to be perfect to be beautiful. So as long as you love it, that's what decorating is all about, you guys. If you love it, then it's perfect, because if you let other people determine what your decor is, then it's their decor and not yours. So you should really enjoy your decorating, your projects and DIYs, without really caring what other people think about them, because if it makes you happy, that's all that matters. All right, so I'm gonna cut right here. I will dovetail in a second. Then I'm going to introduce my tails. They're gonna go down like that. And as you guys can see, now we have some longer tails. And I'm gonna use just a little wire to secure all of this together so I can fluff, because we're gonna use the ribbon to tie it together. So just make sure you do a little swirl real tight, and that way you can play with your ribbon and fluff it. Now let me make sure that I dovetail this before. You know, I'm always telling you that if I come to your home and your ribbons are not dovetailed, I'm gonna do it for you with your own scissors. Well, it's happened to me before when people come to my home and are like, oh, your ribbons are not dovetailed. All right, so now that that's at that stage, what I'm going to do is I'm gonna grab this ribbon that we tied the foam with, and I'm going to go ahead and give it another knot right here, really tight like this. And as you guys can see, now we have all of these tails. They are up. How cute is this? I absolutely love it. And what that's gonna do is gonna hide our foam from our wreath. So I'm gonna get my florals ready, and I'll be right back with you. Stay tuned. All right, everyone, so I have these cute little foliages that I found at my local 99-cent store, and I just love the color. I think it goes really well with this ribbon. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna just separate them, and I'm gonna cut a few of them. I only need like 3 of these cute little picks. Actually, I'm gonna do 4. I'm gonna set the rest apart because, you know, I like to store my foliages. And then I have some of these eucalyptus that I'm also going to cut, and I have 3. I'm gonna get rid of that stem. And I have some of these longer pick right here, and I'm also going to go ahead and cut. So I'm gonna give it a cut right here, and this is where our foam comes really handy. Look at that. How awesome is that? So I'm gonna do another one on the other side. Let's see. What I like about this is it has a wire, so really you can make it floppy, you can make it dense, you can just give it a little bend like that. Look, I'm gonna go ahead and add right here. How fun is that? It just goes forward, and then I'm gonna do one over to this side. And having that foam right there, it really helps you place the foliage anywhere you want without having to compromise your placement of your foliage. So now I'm gonna use some of this eucalyptus to continue going down. At this point, if you wanted to glue it, you could. I'm not going to, because you guys know I like to recycle all of these materials like that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm gonna fill in with some of this foliage right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and go around the perimeter of my bow, making sure that I fluff all of this pretty foliage. Remember, what happens on the left happens on the right. You guys have heard me say that many times. And look at this. How awesome is that? All right, so I'm gonna add one coming down from in the middle. Just make sure you find that foam. Look, it gives you all of that space to add items to your wreath. All right, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab this pumpkin right here, and I want it to be right here in the middle. So I'm gonna split my bow. I'm gonna open my bow and find that foam. Just insert my pumpkin right there. Look at that. We'll fluff at the end. Then I have 2 sunflowers. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna add one here on the top, like that, and then I'm gonna add yet another one over here, behind the bow. And this is how simple it is to really make a gorgeous wreath. So now what I need to do is just go ahead and fluff all of my tails, bring my dovetails forward, make sure they show. And I'm gonna put this in the door and show you what it looks like. Okay everyone, so I just want to show you real quick how beautiful this turned out to be and how great it really does look on a door. As you guys can see, the tails are super long and I just love the way they look. The arrangement right here in the middle with the pumpkin and the sunflowers really make a statement. It is very subtle, but it really does scream fall, and I love using this wreath form in the shape of a diamond. And just so you know, I did cover the hanger with some of the leftover ribbon to match the bow on the arrangement. I cannot wait to read your comments, so leave me a comment and let me know what you think. I really hope you guys enjoyed that full wreath. As you guys can see, it is super easy, very affordable, and very upscale looking, which is kind of what I like to show you when I make these DIYs. Why don't I shut up and give you the materials for our next DIY? For this next fall DIY, what we're going to need is a variety of greeneries, and I've chosen this boxwood as well as some green maple leaf. I'm going to use this container from the dollar store, and this is something you can find there all year round, as well as some rock from the dollar store. You can pick any color, they're not even coming out of the bag. I'm gonna use one peony from the dollar store. I'm gonna use this beautiful pumpkin, and she came from Hobby Lobby. I'm gonna use some gray foam, florist foam. I'm gonna use a variety of picks that we're gonna use to fill in our pumpkin. Then also a skewer, along with our tools, scissor wire cutters, and then some moss from the dollar store as well. All right, so let me get it all situated and I'll be right back. Stay tuned. Okay, so now that we know all the materials for the second fall DIY, it's time to get started. Okay, so to get this fall DIY ready, what we're going to do is we're gonna grab our container and I'm gonna drop all of this rock inside of it. Now I want to explain to you why I'm doing this. When you buy a floral arrangement at the store, and if you pick it up and it's very light, well, it doesn't really feel like it costs much. However, when you give your arrangement some weight and you pick it up and you have that beautiful arrangement, plus it's pretty heavy, people are willing to pay more. So it kind of tricks the mind to think that it's worth more just because it's heavy. All right, so once we drop our rock, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my gray foam right here. And as you guys can see, it pops out, and that's where our moss comes in. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna go ahead and lock it in place using some of this moss. I want to be generous because being generous, it's the way to go. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna finish over on this side like this. And as you can see, it really locks in your container. And you guys know that I just like the wild look. When I worked as a florist for many years, we used to love this look because it looks more natural when it's spilling forward like this. And it just looks so much more pretty. All right, so then what I'm going to do is I'm gonna grab my wire cutters and I'm gonna start trimming some of this right here. I want to go ahead and use this to go all the way around my perimeter, and I want them to spill forward like this. So what happens on the left happens on the right, keep that in mind. And I'm gonna spin it around a little bit, and I'm gonna repeat the process right here. Remember, I want them to spill forward because the pumpkin is rather large. I'm gonna go ahead and add one right here to the side, like that. And then I'm gonna come down, and I'm gonna give it a little bend like this to make sure that it spills down, like this. I'm gonna save one for when we put our pumpkin in. And then what I'm going to do is I'm gonna do the same with this maple foliage. So I'm just gonna go ahead in the spots that I didn't have in between. It's gonna continue to spin around and just go in between like that. A few more. Thumbs up if you guys are enjoying this fall season, and also don't forget to follow me on my Instagram for daily Insta stories, behind the scenes, and all the things that you don't get to see here on YouTube. All of the links to the social medias are linked down below. Right now we're posting over on Instagram daily tips. All right, so I'm gonna add one more here. And that helps us cover our perimeter. That looks really pretty. Now I'm gonna go back to the fact that I have one here. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna grab my pumpkin, and I'm gonna use this skewer. I'm gonna cut it probably about in half. And I always like to save the other halves. I always put them away because we just never know when you want to extend the shape of a floral. So then what I'm going to do is I'm gonna grab my pumpkin, and then I wanna go ahead and add this skewer, but I wanna add it kind of cut it corner like that. You guys can see it has an angle. Then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put my pumpkin right there. Look how easy that was. So then what I'm going to add is the other one that I have right here, so it's closer to my pumpkin. My pumpkin. Okay, so far so good. Then what I wanna mention is these picks. They come from the dollar store, and they come all wrapped like this. As you guys can see, it has some foliage, some berries, a little pumpkin. But what I like to do is I like to just go ahead and take that tape off and make myself some individual foliages. Look at this. Just take the paper off. Don't be afraid, they're only $1. And look, they are going to be good to fill in, add some berries to my bouquet, like that. How fun was that? Look, I have another one that I'm going to totally take apart. And all of this, you just pay $1 for it. Well, why not use it as more than just one pick? I have a little pumpkin, have some foliage. I have a berry right here. So I'm gonna go over to this side. I'm gonna add another berry right here. This is a super easy project. Then I'm going to grab this guy right here, but I'm gonna go ahead and save it because I want to go ahead and add this peony right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the flower from the stem, and I'm gonna grab my glue, and I'm gonna add just a little dot right here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm gonna add it right here to my pumpkin, like that. And with the foliages that I took out, I'm also gonna grab my glue, and then I'm going to add into my pumpkin. It's just a little detail, and you know it's the details that count, like that. And then I want to add this cute little pumpkin. She has a wire, and I'm gonna add that right here. Look at that. How cute is this? That was super easy to put together. It's only a few dollars, and this could really make a statement, and I cannot wait to show you guys how this is going to be used, so keep watching. Okay, so I just wanna show you real quick how beautiful this turned out to be. It was so easy, so affordable, and I just love the way this looks, and it is perfect for the fall season. I cannot wait to show you guys how this is going to be used in a beautiful lantern coming soon. I really love the way this tiny bouquet looks. It is so easy to make, and it really screams fall, and it's very bountiful. I am in love with it, and how affordable it really can be to create something beautiful for your home this fall season. Well, now that I show you how to make the wreath and the centerpiece or the arrangement, I'm gonna show you how I decorate a beautiful lantern for fall. Stay tuned. Okay everyone, for this fall DIY, what we're going to need is a lantern, and this can be any size of your choice. I have this one from previous years, so I'm gonna go ahead and use this one right here. I'm gonna use a variety of small foliages. These are some maples from the dollar store. I'm gonna use some pumpkins. I have 3 tiny little pumpkins that I already had laying around, but this you can find at Hobby Lobby. That's where they came from. I'm gonna use one of these little dish trays from the dollar store, as well as a round foam from the dollar store. I'm going to use my LED candle with a remote, because that way you can manipulate your candle. I'm gonna use a little bundle of bittersweet from the dollar store. I'm gonna use 2 types of ribbon. I'm gonna use this burlap from the dollar store and this beautiful shiny shimmery fall from Hobby Lobby. I'm also going to need a fallen branch and some greenery, or I'm sorry, some foliage for fall, as well as a wire that is already been covered on tape. And so I'm gonna get all this situated and I'll be right back with you to put this beautiful fall DIY together. All right, so we're gonna do this fall DIY in 2 steps. To decorate the lantern, the inside is gonna be done first. And in order to do that, I'm going to go ahead and grab my hot glue gun, and I'm gonna add some hot glue to this piece of foam. Just be generous, remember to be generous so it sticks to your little tray. You really need it to stick to the little tray, because that's how you're going to carry your candle into the lantern. All right, so once it's stuck like that, what you want to do is you're going to go ahead and put your candle in here. I'm going to go ahead and turn it on so you guys can see what it looks like. And I'm going to start by adding some of these foliages, but I want to add the tallest ones first. So I'm going to add this one right here, like this. And then I'm going to start to cover the perimeter of this like this, making sure that you go up and down. And then also that you spin around as you go so you can cover all of the perimeter. Remember, up, down. And because I don't want it to cover the front, this is going to be the front, then what I need to do is I need to add all of the tall ones over to the back. But remember to always, always, always cover the bottom of it. So I'm going to go ahead and add this one right here in the front, like that. And just start to spin around like this. You want to cover this whole perimeter without covering the front of it. This is going to be super simple, but it's going to be really striking once it's all said and done. So I'm going to continue to go around the perimeter just with these short ones right here. And remember, what goes up must come down. I'm going to grab my wire cutters over on this side to cut a few of these ones short so I can go ahead and cover like that. Perfect. I'm going to add one more right here. Then what I want to do is I want to grab some of these bittersweet, and I'm going to do the same. So I'm going to basically make sure that I have some going forward and sideways. And I'm going to do one over here to this side. Basically what we're doing is framing the candle with foliages and bittersweet. Or I think a few more on the front, like this. We want it to look wild. All right, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab one of these pumpkins. I'm gonna add one right here. Then I'm gonna cut this one a little bit shorter. And I'm gonna add this guy over here, like this. And then I'm gonna grab this other one. I'm going to bring it over, put it to this side, right there. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're gonna grab some leftover moss from a past project. So I'm gonna pull out my moss, and I'm gonna get little clumps like this, and I'm gonna bunch them together, and then you're gonna stick them where you can see your foam. Now you could have done this step first. However, the reason why I didn't do it first is because this foam is really difficult to work with to put the stems. And then also I want the moss to really show. So if you put the moss in first, what's gonna happen is that the foliage is going to cover it. And I want this moss to look natural. Look at that, it just covers the mechanics, it gives it a little bit of space, and that's what it looks like. Okay, so the next step is to decorate the outside of our lantern, and the way I'm going to do that is I'm gonna start with my burlap ribbon. So I'm gonna get it out of this little roll, and I wanna give it a tail probably about, I wanna say about 10 inches. I'm gonna dovetail the end first. I'm gonna measure it like that, and then what I'm going to do is I'm gonna pinch, And I'm gonna give myself about a 5-inch loop. Remember, there's going to be some greenery, so we want it to be very prominent. And I don't know if you know, but the way to check if your tails are even is to fold them down like this. And I can already tell this one's taller just by pulling like this. So what I need to do is I need to give it a little give, pull back down, and look, now they're perfect. So I'm gonna stop right there, and then I'm going to introduce my shiny ribbon. I'm gonna drop it on the floor, and I'm gonna give it a shorter tail, about 2 inches shorter. I'm gonna introduce the tail right there. Then I'm going to pinch right here about the same size of my other bow. I'm gonna add right there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm gonna add one more burlap bow. But this time I wanna make sure that it's about 2 inches shorter than the last one. So they stagger together like this. And then you just pinch. Make sure you fluff as you go. The beauty of this ribbon is that it's not printed, so you don't really have to worry about twisting. Just make sure that you pinch really good. And so now I'm gonna do the same with this other ribbon. Look how easy this was to create this beautiful bow with 4 loops. And I'm gonna go ahead and just basically bend right there and pinch right here on the bottom. Super easy and simple. I'm gonna give this one another bow because I want it to be the prominent ribbon. So I'm basically just gonna pinch right here, and then I'm gonna come over to this side. Then I'm gonna pinch one more time, and that's going to be our end tail right there. So now we have 3 of the printed, 2 of the burlap. And you know what? I have just enough ribbon for maybe 1 more. So let's see what that looks like. You know, that's all about playing with these bows. Yeah, I think it needs it. Look at that. So I'm gonna go ahead and give it yet another one here. And now we have enough ribbon just for another tail. So now I'm gonna grab my wire, and I'm gonna go through all of this without letting go of your core and pulling really, really tight like this. And then you twist. And now that it's twisted, you can really fluff these bows. Make sure that they all show. Oh, this one's not dovetail. Remember what I tell you about dovetailing? Did you ever had a ribbon that was not dovetail? Leave me a comment down below and let me know if you ever not dovetail your ribbon. I don't know anyone that, well, I've been to a few homes, but if you are a crafter, you know you have to dovetail your ribbon, right? All right, so the finessing of the ribbon is what takes the longest, because you want to make sure that you pull every single one of them like this. And perfect. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm gonna grab these 2 right here, and I'm gonna stagger them together like this, and I'm gonna bend some of them like that over to that side because I want them to drip over to the other side. And then this one right here, I want to make sure that all of these branches do show. And so this will be our core right here. That's where I'm going to introduce my ribbon, and I'll make sure that all the tails are going down. Just make sure that you pull really tight, and then you spin it around like this. And look at that. So now, okay, so now I need to bring the inside of it first. I'll be right back. All you have left is to tie your swag for your lantern. Make sure that you do it really tight, and then hide that wire. And what you want to do is you want to go ahead and fluff. Okay, so I just want to give you a quick look at the end product, and I just love how bountiful this looks. The candle just gives it that warm fall feeling, and I absolutely love the way this turned out. As you guys can see, creating a beautiful lantern is super easy, and it can be really affordable. I cannot wait to read your comments. Well, that's all I have for today, and I really hope you enjoyed this fall DIY video. Leave your comments down below. I cannot wait to read them, and let me know which of the 3 DIYs is your favorite. If you enjoy this format of multiple DIYs in one video to inspire you to create something beautiful this fall season. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, I'm gonna put a playlist right here with a whole collection of fall DIYs to inspire you to create something beautiful for the fall season. Consider subscribing. You can watch more videos right now. Until next time, bye.